On the news tonight, federal government moves against illegal mining arrests and arrest foreign nationals. Human Rights Commission pledges continued defense of citizens' rights. National Judicial Council elevates 12 judges, harps on discipline. Abroad, U.S. President moves to strengthen ties with China. Good evening and welcome to the Delta Television Main News. I am Perpetua Iboba. You can follow our news online on Facebook at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba and on YouTube at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or visit our website at www.dbsasaba.com. Now the details. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, says foreign nationals arrested for illegal mining and suspected terrorism links have been handed over to the Office of the National Security Advisor for further investigation. Speaking in Abuja, Alake disclosed that more than 327 suspects, including foreigners, have been arrested for illegal mining activities, while about 142 are currently facing prosecution. The minister also revealed that about 3,000 mining licenses have been revoked as part of efforts to sanitize the sector. According to him, reforms introduced under the administration of Bola Tinubu have boosted revenue generation in the solid mineral sector from 6 billion naira in 2023 to over 70 billion naira by December 2025. Alake urged stakeholders in the mining industry to promote transparency and social responsibility to further develop the sector. Meanwhile, President Tinubu has again raised concerns over illegal mining and resource theft, warning that the activities pose a threat to regional stability in West Africa. The ECOWAS Parliament has adopted a landmark resolution calling on member states across West Africa to take immediate and coordinated action to protecting street children and child exploitation and remove vulnerable minors from the street. The resolution was passed during the Parliament's ongoing 2026 first ordinary session held in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Lawmakers said the decision reflects growing concern over the rising number of street children in the sub-region, noting that they remain among the most vulnerable and neglected groups in society, often exposed to severe human rights abuses, exploitation, and lack of access to education and social protection. As part of the resolution, the Parliament mandated its Speaker to formally transmit both the resolution and the report of its joint committees to the President of the ECOWAS Commission for onward submission to the Chairman of the ECOWAS Council of Ministers. The lawmakers explained that the recommendations were drawn from a delocalized joint committee meeting held earlier in April in Freetown, Sierra Leone, which brought together several key parliamentary committees. These include committees on social affairs, gender, women empowerment, persons with disabilities, legal affairs and human rights, as well as trade, customs and free movement. The resolution is now expected to guide coordinated policy responses across ECOWAS member states as pressure mounts for stronger regional action to address child vulnerability and street homelessness. The National Human Rights Commission has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening the promotion and protection of human rights in the country through the implementation of the National Action Plan NAP 2024 to 2028. This formed the focus of discussions during an implementation meeting on the National Action Plan for the Promotion and Protection of Human Rights in Nigeria held in Asaba. Henry Usiayo reports.
The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Mr. Tony Ojukwu, described the action plan as a framework aimed at advancing human rights in line with global standards adopted at the 1993 World Conference on Human Rights in Vienna, Austria. Represented by the State Coordinator of the Commission, Shiano Chaku, Dr. Ojukwu said the plan reflects a collective commitment by government institutions and non-state actors to address human rights challenges and build a more inclusive society. He noted that the meeting was convened to review implementation at the action plan strategies, clarify responsibilities among stakeholders, and strengthen collaboration between government agencies and civil society organizations.
Basically, is to bring together ministries, government and agencies and civil society organizations to intimate them on their role in terms of promotion and protection of human rights. This consultative forum is about the National Action Plan on the promotion and protection of human rights. This is just to make sure that we make ministries, departments and agencies aware of their roles, that whatever it is they're doing that affects humanity, affects human rights. We're looking at education, we're looking at health, we're looking at housing, we're looking at food, we're looking at peaceful environment. All these things are human rights issues.
Participants commended the Commission for organizing the engagement and pledged to work together to reduce cases of human rights abuse while promoting justice, accountability, and respect for human dignity.
This is one thing that I have always craved for, where all the major stakeholders in the field of human rights are brought together and we discuss and plan and see how we can synergize to ensure that human rights are upheld in every facet of human society.
Human rights is not what they can fight alone. That's why they are collaborating with other ministries and parastatals so that they can fight the fight. Is very impactful and detailed, down to earth, and they simplified it to the level of the common man. We are doing our best, but interference from the larger family, influential people, and the traditional rulers, sometimes the clergy.
The meeting featured lectures and interactive sessions on the implementation of National Action Plan. Henry Usiayu reporting.
A 3-day workshop organized by the Independent National Electoral Commission has ended in Lagos with renewed commitment by stakeholders to strengthen electoral compliance and improve political party administration ahead of the 2027 general election. The workshop focused on regulations guiding political parties and the political party finance reporting and audit system, bringing together political party leaders, INEC officials, development partners, and electoral experts. Speaking on behalf of the INEC chairman, Kenneth Nnamdi Okago, commended development partners including the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, Development Alternatives Incorporated, the European Union, and the Kuka Center for supporting the workshop. He reaffirmed the Commission's commitment to fairness and neutrality while urging political parties to comply with electoral laws and guidelines governing party primaries. Dr. Okago also charged heads of department in election and party monitoring across the state to remain professional during the monitoring of party primaries and share knowledge gained from the workshop with colleagues. Also speaking, the Chief Technical Advisor to the INEC Chairman, Demis Mailafia, described the workshop as successful and called on political parties and stakeholders to resolve disputes peacefully through dialogue. The State House of Assembly has passed the Delta State Revenue Service Bill aimed at reforming and strengthening revenue administration in the state. Favor Okafor reports.
At the Committee of the Whole, the House considered the Delta State Revenue Service Bill clause by clause before the Speaker, the Right Honourable Emomotimi Gore, ordered the suspension of relevant House rules to pave the way for the third reading and passage of the bill.
A bill for a law to repeal the Delta State Internal Revenue Service Law 2020 and enact the Delta State Revenue Service and Board Establishment, harmonized taxes and levies, approved list for collection, tax administration, and for related matters, third reading and pass.
thanking lawmakers for their contributions, especially the Chairman, House Committee on Finance and Appropriations, Honorable Marilyn Okawa-Daramola, for the work done on the bill. The Speaker said the executive bill would address multiple taxation, enhance transparency, improve efficiency in revenue generation, and create a more investor-friendly environment in the state. According to him, the bill will strengthen institutional capacity and boost public confidence in the state tax administration system. The Speaker noted that the State Assembly remained committed to enacting laws that would improve the welfare and well-being of Deltans.
It will create a more business-friendly environment by eliminating multiple taxation. Above all, the bill will foster sustainable long-term economic growth in the state.
Also at the plenary, the Speaker constituted a 7-man committee to oversee activities marking the 3rd anniversary of the 8th Assembly. The committee is chaired by Honorable Augustine Oroye, while other members include Honorables Charles Emetulu, Bridget Anyafulu, Blessing Achoja, Spencer Wolfer, and Benson Obiri. The House also observed a minute silence in honor of the late wife of the member representing Ukwani constituency, Honorable Chukudi Dafe. Favor Okafor reporting.
The Executive Chairman of Oshimili North Local Government Area, Honorable Innocent Esewezie, has reaffirmed his commitment to the development and welfare of the people of Okpanam Kingdom. Honorable Esewezie stated this following a royal courtesy visit to the Ogwani of Okpanam. Dr. Michael Mbanefo, the report.
The meeting, which took place at the Ogwani's Palace, focused on critical issues affecting the community, including healthcare delivery, security, urbanization, boundary concern, and sustainable development. Honorable Esewezie informed the Okpanam monarch of the completion of the newly constructed Okpana Cottage Hospital, describing the project as a major intervention aimed at improving access to quality and affordable healthcare service for residents, particularly the vulnerable and less privileged members of the society. According to the council chairman, the hospital project reflects his long-standing passion for his community service and people-oriented development initiative. The council boss further assured the traditional ruler of his readiness to continue collaborating with stakeholders, traditional institutions, and community leaders to promote peace, security, and rapid social economic growth across the community.
So I'm commissioned to inform the palace that the cottage hospital and they get ready for commissioning, but that before we do anything commissioning of that cottage hospital, I like Ogwani and his palace chiefs. I want to take a walk, a tour to that facility. So that we can also have his royal blessings before the commissioning will be done.
In his response, the Ogwani of Okpanam Kingdom, Dr. Michael Mbanefo, commended Honorable Esewezie for his philanthropy efforts and dedication to the welfare of the people. The monarch particularly praised the newly completed Cottage Hospital, describing it as timely and impactful intervention capable of addressing pressing healthcare challenges facing residents of the community. Dr. Mbanefo also acknowledged Honorable Eseweze's contribution towards improving security, resolving boundary-related issues, and advocating proper urbanization planning and organized development within Okpanam and neighboring communities.
That health is very essential for the people and organize a medical outreach for the good people of Okpanam Kingdom. Honorable Innocent Esewezie identified that insecurity was the pain not only in Nigeria, but that of the local government areas, and organize to strengthen our security outreach in the local government.
Other speakers also commended the effort of the local government chairman.
That we are proud of the executive chairman of the local government in the person of Honorable Innocent Esewezie. He has made Okpanam people proud and also proud of him.
Reactions have continued to trail the decision by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAMB) to approve 150 as the cutoff mark for university admission for the 2026 academic session. Gloria Otolo sampled public opinion.
Some candidates described the cutoff mark as fair, saying it gave more students the opportunity to secure admission despite challenges encountered during the examinations. Others, however, argued that the benchmark was too low for university admission and could weaken academic standards in higher institutions.
They have the opportunity to gain admission, unlike when you see 200, 300. It's kind of fair, and it's not also fair kind of way. To make students that, those students that brain is not that sharp, to make them to at least be able to gain admission into the university. But it's not also fair because it's not like anybody can just write and get that particular mark.
The government, they are actually giving those students that are unserious the ability of not reading. But those people that are unserious, they will start being so serious now, because if they actually reduce this thing, all these unserious students, they won't be serious. But if I say that they increase this thing now, it will be giving them so much eagerness to read and be able to meet up that cutoff mark.
Respondents also expressed mixed reaction on whether the approved cutoff mark would improve the quality of admission into tertiary institutions. While some believe universities will still maintain strict screening processes, others fear the decision may affect the quality of graduates produced in the future.
The government to increase the cutoff mark so that at least people that have something upstairs, people that they are supposed to be giving admission, not like anybody at all. Because that cutoff mark 150, anybody can actually reach it.
The respondent called on JAMB and tertiary institutions to strengthen merit-based admission, ensure timely release of admission lists, and eliminate favoritism and illegal admission practices. They maintained that beyond the cutoff mark, transparency and fairness remain critical to improving the nation's education system. Gloria Otolo reporting.
The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board has announced the commencement of the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, change of institution and course process for candidates. The board disclosed this in a notice issued by its spokesperson, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, on X. According to the statement, candidates wishing to change their institution or program of choice may now proceed to do so visiting any of the board's approved CBT. JAMB also announced that the printing of the original 2026 UTME result slip would commence on Monday, May 18, 2026. The board advised candidates to visit accredited CBT centers for the printing of their result slips and other related services. The development comes weeks after the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board announced the release of the 2026 UTME results, but delayed the printing of official result slips, allowing candidates to only check scores via SMS. The National Judicial Council, NJC, has recommended the elevation of 12 judges to the Court of Appeal following its 111th meeting chaired by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun. According to a statement by the NJC's Deputy Director of Information, Kemi Babalola Ogedebe, those recommended to Bola Tinubu for elevation includes Justices Emeka Nwite, James Kolawole Omotosho, Yakubu Mohammed, Abodunde Oluwatoyin, Ajowa Raphael, Abwa Ojie, Ijoho Jennifer, Shuaibu Bala, Buba Njane, Kado Sanuse, Ademola Enikwo Mayin, and Dadom Veronica. The council also recommended the appointment of Christian Ende as a judge of the High Court of Benue State alongside two nominees for appointment as cadres of the Sharia Court of Appeal in Katsina State. The NJC said the appointments are aimed at filling vacancies created by retirement and elevation within the judiciary to improve justice delivery nationwide. Meanwhile, the council extended the tenure of Justice Ijeoma Ogugwa as acting chief judge of Imo State for another 3 months from March 26 to June 26, 2026, pending the appointment of a substantive chief judge. On disciplinary matters, the NJC rejected appeals filed by 8 judges of the Imo State Judiciary seeking reversal of their compulsory retirement over age falsification allegations. You're watching the Delta TV main news. Still to come, U.S. President moves to strengthen ties with China. Details of this and more after the break.
Another May 27 is here, a day set aside to celebrate children. Delta Broadcasting Service, DBS Asaba, is set for a wonderful time out for children this season. Oh yes, it is the DBS Asaba Youth and Children's Day Cultural Carnival 2026. Theme, Building the Future Through Youth and Culture. The event is aimed at promoting the beautiful culture of our people and encouraging children to imbibe same. The event will feature cultural match past, art workshop training session for parents and children, painting, drawing, tie and dye, cultural dance competition, Nigerian food competition, Nigerian language knowledge competition, cultural fashion parade. There'll be lots to eat and drink and wonderful gifts to go home with. Delta Broadcasting Service, DBS Asaba, is calling on schools to be part of the Cultural Carnival competition, which will attract trophy and prizes to winners of the competitions. Corporate bodies and churches can register children for this special Children's Day event. That's not all. The brochure for the event will serve as a vehicle for warm felicitations for our children, as well as platform for business owners to advertise their goods and services. For schools participation and sponsorship, please visit the marketing department or call 0803-326-6801. Maureen on 0803-778-1910. Date, Wednesday 27th May 2026. Venue, DBS Event Place, Opanam Road, Asaba. Time, 9 a.m. DBS Asaba Youth and Children's Day Cultural Carnival 2026. Let's meet there.
You're watching the Delta Television main news. President Donald Trump left China today with no major breakthroughs on trade or tangible help from Beijing to end the Iran war, despite 2 days spent heaping praise on his host Xi Jinping. President Trump's visit to America's main strategic and economic rival, the first by a U.S. president since his last trip in 2017, had aimed for tangible results to lift his sagging approval ratings before midterm elections in November. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi said President Xi will visit the U.S. in the fall at Trump's invitation. The summit was filled with pageantry, from goose-stepping soldiers to tours of a secret garden. But behind closed doors, Xi issued a stark warning to Trump that any mishandling of China's top concern, Taiwan, could spiral into conflict. During a huddle with reporters on the way back to the U.S., Trump said Xi told him he opposed Taiwan's independence. It was unclear if Trump was referring to Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te. A direct conversation between a sitting U.S. president and Taiwan's leader would be unprecedented in the period since Washington shifted diplomatic recognition to Beijing from Taipei in 1979, and would likely anger China, which sees the democratically governed island as its own territory. These were the first freewheeling remarks after 2 days in Beijing, during which Trump stayed unusually restrained, with the off-the-cuff comments mainly focused on fêting Xi's warmth and stature. While Trump searched for immediate business wins, such as a deal to sell Boeing jets that did not impress investors, Xi talked up a long-term restated pact to maintain. While Trump searched for immediate business wins, such as a deal to sell Boeing jets that did not impress investors, Xi talked up a long-term reset and pact to maintain stable trade ties with Washington, underscoring their different priorities. President Xi pushed a new term by describing the relationship as constructive strategic stability, a sharp departure from the framing of strategic competition used by former U.S. President Joe Biden, which Beijing disliked. Iran has announced that strategically important Strait of Hormuz remains open to shipping from friendly nations despite ongoing tensions in the region. Speaking on the sidelines of the BRIC Foreign Minister meeting in New Delhi, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Agharanchi said the waterway is only restricted to countries considered enemies by Tehran. Agharanchi also indicated that Iran could lift current naval restrictions if the conflict involving the United States and Israel comes to an end. The Strait of Hormuz, a key global oil shipping route, has faced major disruptions since the outbreak of hostilities earlier this year, with threats, inspections and attacks on vessels causing a sharp decline in maritime traffic and contributing to rising global fuel prices. Although Tehran insists the strait is not blocked, shipping companies are reportedly required to coordinate with Iranian authorities and use designated corridors near the Iranian coast, with fees imposed for passage. Meanwhile, the United States had maintained a naval blockade against Iran since April as part of efforts to restrict the country's oil revenue. Traders in Anioma Market along Okpanam Road, Asaba, have decried the rising cost of some food commodities and called on government at all levels to address the high cost of fuel. Violet Moye reports that the traders said the increase in fuel price continued to affect the cost of food items in the market.
The traders explained that despite maintaining old prices on some items such as garri and rice, the prices of fresh tomatoes, pepper, yam and plantain have continued to soar. They attributed the high cost of plantain to adverse weather conditions, noting that strong winds often destroy plantain crops and reduce supply to the market. The traders also identified the high cost of transportation as a major factor contributing to the increase in food prices, stressing that transport fares have continued to rise alongside fuel prices.
Everything. Garri has added money, but we still sell the same way we sell before now. 1.5 per bucket. But potato, we buy 45,000 now against 38,000 that we used to buy. Then plantain, a dozen of plantain now goes for 80, 90, 120, depends on the size. So almost everything has gone up. Plantain, before you can see up to 50,000, some 40, some 45. But now, 80, 90, 120.
70 before. Now they buy 166. So they buy bag before 80, 90, but now 120 something.
Very expensive now, and they say the people, the owners say the drivers are charging.
Many of the plantain fell down, so it's scarce there, and they are paying too much transport to bring it. Even we that are going to the village market to buy, it's still very expensive.
The respondents appealed to government to take urgent steps to reduce the cost of fuel and transportation, stressing that such measures would help stabilize food prices and improve business activities in the market.
But if we go by what is happening in Nigeria, I believe it's the cost of fuel that has caused most of the things. The government should help us to look into the issue of fuel so that they can bring down the price. I believe if they bring down the price, things will normalize.
If government could bring fuel down a bit, then the plantain will not be. Things, not only plantain, even yams, they will not be expensive anymore. You understand? It will be better for us if the price of fuel comes down.
They expressed hope that government intervention would ease the burden on both traders and consumers. Violet Monye reporting.
Nigeria's inflation rate rose slightly to 15.69% in April 2026 from 15.38% recorded in March, according to the latest Consumer Price Index report released by the National Bureau of Statistics. The report showed that although prices of goods and services remained high, the paces of increase slowed compared to the previous month. Month-on-month inflation dropped to 2.13% in April from 4.18% in March, indicating a gradual easing of inflationary pressure across the economy. The NBS also reported that urban inflation stood at 15.40%, while rural inflation was higher at 16.36%, reflecting continued cost pressures in rural communities. On a 12-month average basis, headline inflation stood at 19.16%, slightly lower than the 19.33% recorded in the corresponding period of 2025. Manchester United has confirmed the appointment of Michael Carrick as the club's permanent head coach, ending months of speculation over the managerial position at Old Trafford. The 44-year-old former midfielder, who had been serving in an interim capacity since January, signed a multi-year contract reportedly running for 2 years with an option for a further 12 months. Carrick took charge following the departure of Ruben Amorim earlier this year and has overseen a strong revival in the club's fortunes. Under his leadership, United have won 10 of their last 15 matches in all competitions, secured qualification for next season's UEFA Champions League, and climbed to third place in the Premier League. The club's chief executive, Omar Barada, and director of football, Jason Wilcox, reportedly recommended Carrick for that role, with co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe approving the appointment after talks progressed this week. Our thoughts for the day. Happiness is not by chance, but by choice. Now for a rundown of the major stories in our bulletin this evening. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, says foreign nationals arrested for illegal mining and suspected terrorism links have been handed over to the Office of the National Security Advisor for further investigation. Speaking in Abuja, Alake disclosed that more than 327 suspects, including foreigners, have been arrested for illegal mining activities, while about 142 are currently facing prosecution. The National Human Rights Commission has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening the promotion and protection of human rights in the country through the implementation of the National Action Plan 2024 to 2028. This formed the focus of discussions during an implementation meeting on the National Action Plan for the Promotion and Protection of Human Rights in Nigeria held in Asaba. The National Judicial Council has recommended the elevation of 12 judges to the Court of Appeal following its 111th meeting chaired by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun. According to a statement by the NJC's Deputy Director of Information, Kemi Babalola Ogedebe, those recommended to Bola Tinubu for elevation include Justices Emeka Nwite, James Kolawole Omotosho, Yakubu Mohammed, Abodunde Oluwatoyin, Ajuwa Raphael, Abua Oje, Ijoho Jennifer, Shuaibu Bala, Buba Njane, Kado Sanusi, Ademola Enikwamain, and Dadom Veronica. And abroad, U.S. President Donald Trump left China today with non-trade or tangible help from Beijing to end the Iran war, despite 2 days sent heaping praise on his host Xi Jinping. President Trump's visit to America's main strategic and economic rival, the first by a U.S. president since his last trip in 2017, had aimed for tangible results to lift his sagging approval ratings before midterm elections in November. You can now follow our news online on Facebook and YouTube at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or visit our website at www.dbsasaba.com. That ends the Delta Television main news. On behalf of the production crew, my name is Perpetua Iboba. Thanking you so much for watching. Good evening.